College football Saturday under the lights and on top of the polls. Some 300 miles apart, the nation's number 1 and number 3 teams run parallel courses tonight. Could these be the two on a collision course for New Orleans? On ESPN, top-ranked Florida State is in Charlottesville. The hype over for father and son that's behind them. So is Bobby's 300th win.
We see history tonight. Win number 300.
Peter Warrick still very much center stage, this time for the right reasons. Now that he's shaken off the rust, and he returned the Noles to their dominant ways. Meanwhile, on ESPN2, third-ranked Virginia Tech facing Pittsburgh. The Hokies fresh off their 62-point pummeling of Syracuse. Dominated in every phase of the game. Freshman Michael Vick, the newest star in the Big East. Is he big enough to take Tech where they've never gone before? One slip for either tonight, and it's a dream derailed. Keep your clicker handy. It's primetime college football on ESPN and ESPN2. Everybody, welcome aboard. Of course, Bobby Bowden, coaching legend, got his 300th win last week. His Seminoles have been number 1 all year. Frank Beamer building the powerhouse in Blacksburg. We'll see both on ESPN and ESPN2 this evening. Brian Kenny and Rodney Gilmore here. We're excited about this. First, we're looking at number 1 and number 3. Let's check in on number 2. Pretty long afternoon for the Nittany Lions. Penn State taking on Illinois. And Illinois, of course, off the upset win over Michigan just a week ago. We didn't think it'd be this tough. Boy, 7-7 at the half. And a rough go until Rashard Casey. Brilliant move, breaks out. Maybe it was a matter of time, Rod. Maybe it was this tough game.
Well, he came in and opened things up for them. Casey really stepping in for Kevin Thompson, who struggled throughout this game. It was a field position game in the third quarter, Brian. The win a big factor. Penn State finally punching the ball in a couple times to take control of the game.
27-7 the final. Penn State is up to 9-0. Well, let's check in right now. Florida State and Virginia meantime. Virginia 4-3, historically playing the Seminoles very tough year after year. Bobby Bowden looking to go 8 for 8 in the ACC, 8 titles in 8 years. Let's get the latest now from the men who will call the game, Ron Franklin and Mike Godfrey. Gentlemen.
Brian, thanks very much. It is very noisy at this stadium. A packed house, a gorgeous evening in this part of the state of Virginia. And it seems as though the Seminoles get everybody's best shot, particularly when you're number 1 in the nation. Mike, on Tuesday, we talked with Bobby Bowden, and he said, I addressed my club about the BCS standings and the fact that we control our own destiny. How secure are they at number 1, and what do they have to do to maintain?
Ron, I don't think Florida State has played like the number 1 team. They have the talent, they have the coaching, they have everything. And I'm not sure they can beat Florida. I think what they need to is a momentum game. They need to break out here against Virginia, play very well, play well against Maryland, the open date, and then get ready for Florida.
So breakout is the word if you're a Florida State fan tonight. Brian, back to you. We'll be back with the game shortly.
All right, Ron, thank you very much. That, of course, on ESPN. Meantime, over on ESPN2, Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Good barometer of strength in this one. Pittsburgh 4-3, but we're tied up with Penn State with less than 2 minutes left in the game. So this, we'll see how good Virginia Tech is playing again in Pittsburgh, just like Penn State. Let's go right now to the men who call this ball game on ESPN2. It's Steve Levy and Todd Christensen. Steve?
All right, Brian, thanks very much. Frank Beamer looked us square in the eyes. The Virginia Tech coach yesterday said, hey, we don't talk about the polls, we don't talk about the rankings, we don't talk about the strength of schedule or lack of. On the schedule tonight is Pittsburgh, and they look to treat the Panthers like they've treated everybody else all season.
Steve, I'm not sure that they're not paying at least a little bit of attention to the BCS schedule, but one ranking that they are paying attention to is what their defense and offense are doing. The bottom 2 statistics you see may have come to fruition, you may have been cognizant of, but not the top one. 43.3 scoring per game. The result of that is Michael Vick. He is the tremendous redshirt quarterback who is having a tremendous season. That 200 passing efficiency rating is unbelievable. Steve, he is averaging 14 yards per attempt, which is absolutely astounding.
Simply amazing, and so they've got arguably the best offense, the best defense, and no question about their special teams. Virginia Tech has it all, but right now they have the number 3 ranking. Brian, back to you.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. And this is your chance to vote in while you're watching both of these games. And if you saw Penn State earlier on, let us know on ESPN.com what you think. Which team, which of the top-ranked Bowl Championship Series teams has impressed you the most this season? The Florida Florida State, Penn State, and Virginia Tech. Any of the top teams vote in, and we'll let you know how the voting is going throughout the evening at the half and later on. Well, again, on ESPN, Florida State and Virginia. Peter Warrick is there, and got Michael Vick and Virginia Tech taking on Pittsburgh over on ESPN2. Enjoy the first half on both games.
Hey, man, how come every time I call you, you're on the phone? Who are you talking to?
My friends, family. I call them a lot since I don't get to see them that much.
Phone bills must be killing you.
Not at all. I dial 10-10-321. It's only 8 cents a minute for calls over 10 minutes. That's 50% off.
And when you're talking with family and friends, you just know you're going to be on for a while.
Sounds good. My wife's on the phone all the time with her sister. Hey, man, am I ever going to get to shoot?
Not when you're playing against me.
Don't move.
Now there's a beer with a head on it.
Sink your teeth into a frost-brewed Coors Light.
Very excited Virginia football team along with their fans, and why not, as the #1 team in the nation comes calling, and anytime the invite is out and these youngsters come to play, they are ready for them here in Charlottesville. Hello once again, Ron Franklin along with Mike Gottfried. Talk about Peter Warrick. He returned last week, but he had some rust on the edges, Mike. He was not nearly as sharp as he normally is.
Ron, he was rusty, but he had 11 catches, and what that does is it opens up the other receivers because you have to double him. It opens up the running game, minor. So they were lucky that they had him last week. I think they lose the ball game without Peter Warrick last week.
Well, 37 straight games with the reception. As the kickoff we are just about to have. David Green with the ball teed up, and here's the kick. Florida State. The call is made at the 2-yard line by Gardner. Comes to the outside, and he suckered him there. Crosses the 20 to the 25, and Virginia almost got caught not staying at home on the kick return. Let's go to the sideline, and our third man, Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Ron, before this game goes any further, a reminder that Florida State still calls this place the scene of the crime, in reference, of course, to that night in '95 when they lost their first ever ACC game. I was here. I remember. I also remember that game in '97 when Travis Minor took revenge and the ball in his own hands and raced 87 yards to the end zone. 5 minutes later, the rout was on. Both teams haven't forgotten either the upset in '95 or the blowout in '97. Point being, they both want to make a big statement here.
Long memories, running play, bounces off one tackler. Minor goes down, maybe a loss of one. And this Virginia defense is really pumped and bouncing around. Time now to take a look at the Dell Computer starting lineups. Winky, of course, at quarterback. Travis Minor, the leading rusher for Florida State, who just carried. Kyndra, the fullback. The receivers, Warrick is back. Sprague, the tight end. Dugans will join them. And up front with the offensive line, Whitaker returns. He was ill last week. Williams and Thomas at the tackles. And Eric Thomas out of Miami is the center. Winky swings it out of the backfield. Crosses the 30 and out to the 31-yard line. Warrick on a short gain. There is a flag on the play as we take a look at the defensive starters for the Virginia Cavaliers tonight. Offensive holding, says Jack Childress, the referee in tonight's ball game from this Atlantic Coast Conference crew. Here's that defense we were talking about as you look at Rick Lance standing behind George Welch. Monsanto Pope, we don't know how long he can go tonight. He was not scheduled to start until actually yesterday. Anderson, Shivers are in Stemenich are the others. Taylor, Isbell, and Tweet the linebackers. And in the secondary, Stoops, Harris, Williams, and Jerton Evans. Those corners, Stoops and Harris, will have obviously their hands full tonight. So the penalty moves the ball back. to the 18-yard line. And Winky with a play action zings it over the middle, incomplete, looking for his tight end. Off the mark for Sprague.
Ron, in last week's ball game, Mark Rick told us on our conference call they had 9 drop passes, 15 passes not thrown accurately. They start out the same way in this ball game, and Virginia needs a good start to stay close to this Florida State football team.
So it's going to be 3rd down, the ball just outside the 18, and they need to take it all the way out to the 37 to pick up the first down. Crowd on their feet, cheering for the defense. The snap by Thomas. He's in trouble, and he just throws this one away. Shannon Taylor was the man pressuring.
And, Ron, that's the same thing Clemson did to him last week. They pressured him from the outside, got Chris Winky moving. He doesn't throw well on the move.
Thomas Jones, because of an injury tonight, Mike is going to return punts. Arlen Harris is normally the guy, but they're using Thomas tonight. George said they will not use him on kickoffs.
Ron, Keith Cottrell is an excellent punter, too. So this is a good battle right here.
Interesting in watching the returns on Thursday. Thomas hasn't done this in a bit, and he was having to check with Harris on what the codes were, what the signal calls were, whether it was left, right, or up the middle. This is a booming kick. Thomas on the run. He has to retreat all the way to the 33, breaks off the first tackle, and is going to be stopped at the 36-yard line. 49 yards in the kick and 4 on the return. So the starters for Virginia, it'll be Ellis along with Thomas Jones. He does everything for this football team, and he is a beauty to watch. Anthony Southern is the fullback. The receivers, Coffey and Hawkins, favor the tight end. They'll use 3 tight ends. They're all big targets. And up front with the offensive line, the big change, Josh Lawson normally is the starter. He's injured. LaMontagne moves from left guard out to left tackle. Jared Woodson, who's a backup at left guard, goes on as the starter at that position. First down, this is Ellis. Good protection, and he's going to go on top. First play, and he caught it, but he caught it out of bounds. It's Kevin Coffey. And it gives us an opportunity to look at the starters defensively for Florida State. The down 4, you have to start with the tackles. Right there in the middle, Johnson and Corey Simon, and they are as good a tandem as anybody has in the country. David Warren gets the start at that defensive end spot, and he's replacing Roland Seymour. The linebackers, Pauly, Jennings, and Brian Allen. And in the secondary, Tay Cody, of course, suspended. He is not here. Cleavon Thomas replaces him. And it is Chris Hope replacing Sean Key at the free safety spot this evening. Key will not play. Second down, here's Jones. Boy, great wiggles when he moves. Brian Allen is the man who comes up to make the tackle. It'll be 3rd down. But Jones, one that has a lot of God-given talent and a great heart.
And, Ron, you look at his statistics. Last year against this Florida State defense, he had 16 carries for 66 yards. That's the big question tonight. Can they run the football against this Florida State front?
One of the things, as you remember, that Clemson did last week in that first half, they kept the Florida State offense off the field by playing ball control. Pressure from behind. He's going to run it. 40, and look at the cover. Good heavens, that's Pauly from the linebacking position. Didn't take him long to run him down, did it?
No, he has great closing speed. Tommy Pauly leads Florida State in tackles with 73. Give him another one, 74. But he just closed on Ellis quickly.
Donnie Scott, number 90, stands back to punt. Peter Warrick is the deep man on 4th down and 7. They got the return on, and this is off the side of his foot. Going to take a big Virginia bounce, fielded by Warrick at the 15. And he's loose on the outside. Warrick breaks another tackle, hit from behind as he waited for the block. It'll take it all the way to the 42. That's 45 yards on the kick and 28 on the return.
Peter Warrick's so dangerous, and he hurts you so different many ways. Just starts up the inside and then breaks to the right. Got a couple nice blocks and puts the offense in good field position. Ron, Florida State played 42 players in the first minute and 30 seconds. That's what the SID just brought over to us. They're playing a lot of players. early in this game.
Well, they got excellent field position here with Warrick's return of 28 yards. And they go for their own 42. Short drop, quick pass out to Warrick. And he'll have about 5. Antoine Harris is there to make the tackle on him. And also one of the things that Clemson did such a good job of last week, and that is taking away the big play of Florida State, because everybody they play, Mike, they get an extra base hit of some kind.
Ron, they had 11. Peter Warrick had 11 receptions last week, but they kept him to about 110 yards. He should have had over 200 yards on a normal day. They didn't allow the big play. That's what Virginia wants to do tonight.
Winky comes up now with an audible. Plenty of time on the play clock. It's at 7. Now it's 6. Minor going to have the first down. Puts a head down running tough all the way to the 44. Shannon Taylor makes the stop.
Well, in last week's ball game, we keep referring to the Clemson game, but until Travis Minor got untracked in the third quarter and they ran the football a little bit more, that game was in danger. But Travis Minor in the running game, the offensive line, took over the Clemson game, starting early tonight with some draw plays to slow down the rush.
See the numbers on Travis, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. The ball just inside the 44. Here comes pressure from the outside. Florida State picks it up. And the pass the other direction, wide open. Dugan. And I don't know if he had slipped or not, but Stooks was way too far off him.
Yeah, Ron, he did slip. Dwayne Stooks trying to cover Ron Dugans, and just kind of his feet came out from under him.
Folks, to remind you of what Adrian was talking about, after the upset win the next time, 2 years ago, when Florida State came here, they had run 5 offensive plays and they scored 3 touchdowns. It was 21-0 in the first quarter. Winky pulls it down. He's going to run it. Now Kyndra trying to help him out along with the rest of his teammates, and he'll step out of bounds for no gain. Winky said an interesting thing yesterday at their walkthrough, Mike. The same thing that his offensive coordinator said, and that is they have a world of respect for Virginia, but they're not worried about what Virginia's doing tonight. He said, we got to take care of business the way we do it and stop making errors. So that's where our concentrations are going to be on Saturday night. 2nd and 11. The pitch to Minor. McWeeny is over to make the tackle. Let's check in with Brian Kenny. Brian?
Ron, Virginia Tech at it already. First of all, they had their first block punt of the season. Their special teams unit got the block punt on Pittsburgh, and then they get the ball back. Michael Vick cutting back, making it look easy. 46 yards for the touchdown. Hokies lead Pittsburgh 7-zip.
Hey, when you play that option, you better not let him free. You got to force him to pitch.
Well, Pittsburgh plays a blitzing style defense, which gets them in man coverage. That's why no one was in the secondary.
Intercepted by Tweet.
Didn't want to happen early in this game.
Ball was hit by Shivers, and the interception by Tweet. We'll be right back.
Monday Night Countdown at 7.
PN's presentation of primetime college football is brought to you by Isuzu. We don't make cars because life is too big for cars. And we're back as you take a look at the defense. Rick Lance, the man in the middle there, the gentleman with, well, the gentleman in the middle. That's as far as I'll take that description. Talking with his guys as Thomas Jones is gang tackled. Brian Allen, one of the first men to get out there. Paulie is there also along with Chris Hope.
Well, you teach defensive linemen to get their hands up, even if they're being blocked. Right here, Johnny Shivers is going to work against the Florida State offensive line. He gets blocked, but now watch, he gets his hand up, tips the football, and then Tweet with the interception.
Tweet is a man who is an awfully good athlete and has played well for Virginia, but he's also playing with injuries, and they've had to move him around some to try to keep him healthy. Passes it right over the middle. Thomas Jones, good heavens. Paulie almost took his head off as soon as he caught the football. And that's one of the things. When I talked with him on Thursday after practice, I said, does it matter that you know you're going to carry the ball at least 35 times and these guys really come after you? And he said, nope, it makes me lather a little more.
He may be the best back in the country, but he's going to have his work cut out for him tonight. He's second in the nation in rushing with 158.4 yards, but he's going to earn every inch tonight.
Thomas Jones, third down for the Cavaliers, and they need to take it to the 36.5-yard line. Still no score. Ellis got it to Jones, and he'll have the first down out close to the 40. Chris Hope is hanging on for dear life on that one.
Ron, he worked against Bradley Jennings, the linebacker. This is the old Bill Walsh play where you bring the back out of the backfield, and then you work him back inside. Now he stems the back, and here's the linebacker over here behind him. He's got him on his hip now and makes the catch and picks up the first down.
So the Cavaliers with their initial first down of the night. As Ellis sets deep, now the protection breaks down, gets some help, and he's going to try to run it. But again, at closing speed, this time David Warren, and coming over was the middle linebacker, Bradley Jennings, and he simply had no place to go.
Ron, I was watching that route. Billy McMullen was the receiver. Now, he broke open, but Dan Ellis, the timing wasn't right on that play for some reason. Dan Ellis was not ready to throw, or was ready to throw. McMullen didn't make the break till after, and then he started running, but he was open.
Ellis, who throws almost 59%, 1,367 yards and 10 touchdowns, but he also has 8 interceptions on the year. 2nd and 7. Jones hit behind the line of scrimmage. Boy, what great penetration. Corey Simon, who we talked so much about last week. And this is a great matchup tonight, Mike, and we need to keep it there because John Sinclair is said to be the best lineman for Virginia. The pro scouts really like him. Obviously, Simon is a favorite of the pro scouts as well, and they're going head-to-head quite a bit tonight.
Well, Gary Tranquil, the offensive coordinator for Virginia, knows and he respects Simon. He said he's a very physical football player and gets off blocks very well.
The thing that St. Clair told me, I said, what makes Simon so tough? And he said he always stays low. You can't play him high. They get help on Simon this time. Pass is thrown complete, and that's Hawkins. And Hawkins will have the first down. Good second effort, a gain of 11 as Brian Allen made the stop.
They're working on the linebackers of Florida State. Florida State's linebackers dropping deep, and they're working underneath with Thomas Jones and Ahmad Hawkins. Number 80, the wide receiver, is going to come inside. Just working inside the linebacker. There he is over the middle. Gets the catch, and then yards after the catch until Brian Allen makes the tackle.
Jones right up the middle. He'll go for a tough 2, maybe 3. Bradley Jennings trips him up.
You almost figure on strategy, Gary Tranquil and George Welsh bringing this ball game, because everybody all week at Florida State you practice on stopping Thomas Jones. Stop Thomas Jones. Stop Thomas Jones on the run. So linebackers are so conscious of him on the run that once the fake is to him, they're going to drop deep, and that's why they're working underneath them.
Well, the same old story as you take a look at Gary Tranquil up in the booth. He just moved behind that. There he is trying to simulate and have the same kind of speed that Florida State brings against you, Mike. Going to run it, very wisely dives to the 41-yard line. Rackley, who has just come in replacing Brian Allen, is there to cover him up. Senior out of Tallahassee.
Ron, good job by the Virginia offensive tackles, Barnes and LaMontagne, because they're forcing the rush around the quarterback. See, now watch him force him around, then Ellis will step up inside. That's good job by the 2 tackles, and nice job by the quarterback stepping up inside that rush.
This is the 8th play of the drive, and they need just over a yard. Florida State with a 5-man front, linebackers up tight, and they're going to throw the ball. They gave it to Jones. Now here comes the pressure, and he'll have to run it. Can he make the corner? Yes, he does. First down, Virginia. Bobby Rhodes was after him. Mickey Andrews, he ran out of bounds right in front of Mickey, and I doubt that he is real excited about his defense allowing that to happen.
Well, good job by Chris Hope. It looked like Chris Hope on the coverage, and Chris Hope made one of the biggest plays last week.
Mike, the official who was right there, says that he stepped out of bounds before he got to the 40-yard line. So you can see him protecting the football with his feet, making sure that it doesn't get bounced when they bring the marker over. And it is 4th. And George Welch says, let's go for it.
I'm going to set the clock here. 25-second clock.
So it's whistled in. We have just gone under 5 minutes left in this opening quarter. 4th down, Virginia. Quarterback sneak, and he got it. Corey Simon was the first man to get to him.
Paul Shadell is the offensive line coach for Virginia. Was the head coach at Ball State, coached at Michigan under Bo Schembecker, a very sound offensive line coach. And this offensive line coach, offensive line of Virginia, they think's the best they've ever had here.
Was interested in watching him in practice on Thursday, Mike. He was really on some of the youngsters, particularly saying, you're going to make a mistake in practice, you'll get killed on Saturday night. You got to do it mistake-free. And I can't be out there hollering at you.
He's a very technique-minded coach.
Dan Ellis, the junior out of Exton, Pennsylvania, gives the ball off to Jones. Wow, he went down quickly. Thomas is not big in stature, 5'10", 207, hard as a rock, and runs very hard. But when you get met with the force and quickness of like these Florida State linebackers, it is a difficult evening if nobody gets a piece of it.
Well, Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator of Florida State, said he's the best in America, and he does so many things. He's got power, finesse, catches the ball. He's a complete player. So they have the attention of Thomas Jones tonight.
You can see the clock running, about to go under 4 minutes left in this opening quarter. It's Coffey in motion as they roll the pocket to the open side of the field. Delivers the pass. Got it. No, he dropped the football. Well, that was McMullen. They're going to say it is a catch.
Yeah, Billy McMullen, the true freshman, brought it in, Ron. That's his 17th catch. Now they're waving it off. You're right. One official said he had it. The other official said no. Let's look at it. No, he's a good call.
Yeah, he was
Mario Edwards on the coverage.
He was losing the football as he headed out of bounds.
Ron, going back to Thomas Jones as we watch that drop again. A lot of pro scouts think he's Emmitt Smith. They like him. Pro people are talking about him, how high he'll go.
Can he carry another 12 or 13 pounds?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Like 220, something like that?
Without a doubt. And he has great hands out of the backfield.
13th play of the drive for Virginia. Ellis pressured. He's going to be sacked. That's Allen. Boy, he is lucky to have held on to the football, as he did not see or feel Brian Allen until he got there, and you could see he went down quickly.
And Ron, if you're going to beat Florida State, Billy McMullen, you got to make those catches because you only give so many opportunities. Clemson last week had so many opportunities to win that game, and then they just let it go at the end. Didn't make some plays that they needed to make. You almost got to be perfect against these guys.
Reggie Durden is the deep man for Florida State. Second punt of the night by Scott. Great coverage kick. Very, very high. And it's going to bound, headed for the end zone. Did he down it? The official says yes at the 1 foot line. Nope, now he says touchback. Okay. So we'll take a break. No score. 3:02 left, opening quarter. Florida State and Virginia still sparring.
You can't see anything in a car.
Crowd here tonight, they are completing the upper deck to the south end zone here. But I'll tell you, there's no room for anybody, particularly on the hill back to our left. We'll show you that as the ball game goes on. There's the new addition coming in. Gorgeous, gorgeous locker rooms down below. But in the end zone to the north, where they sit on the grass, it is absolutely packed up there as well. What happens when number 1 comes to town. Linky on the play action, zooms it complete at the 25, And the tight end Sprague will drag his man for about 4 more yards. Tackle made by Stukes.
I said jokingly today on the radio that the worst thing they did was beat them back here being the first team.
Look at this, Mike. There's the new Jumbotron, and you can see that there are no bleachers up there. They're
grass.
Yeah, the lines are pretty straight, though. But they're sitting on the grass and enjoying a great Virginia evening. As Minor cuts it back, breaks a tackle, and slips down as he crosses the 35. But he has plenty enough for the first down.
Anytime Florida State starts to struggle a little bit, they go right to the eye, run the football, get the ball in Travis Minor's hands, get Dan Kyndra blocking, and that's when the Bobby Bowden of the 70s, early 80s, they ran the eye, and now they're back in the eye. They're trying to take control of this game with their offensive line.
4 carries, 25 yards for Minor. A pass complete to the 42 to Dugans. Antoine Harris makes the stop on him.
I was saying round about when they beat them a couple years ago, and Adrian was talking about that, the only ACC win over Florida State. Every time Florida State comes in here now, it's a rallying cry. You know, remember that game. So they get the attention.
Well, there's signs all over town here in Charlottesville. Not that anyone needed to be reminded that the Seminoles were coming. That pass intercepted, the second one of the night, and this ball was not tipped. That's a great job by Jerton Evans.
Ron, they had Peter Warrick doubled again, and free safety was the double lead. Jerton Evans makes the interception, same high school that Anthony Poindexter was out of.
So as we go to break, you can watch Peter Warrick, and here's the attention that he garners. And look at the jump on the ball right there. Didn't see number 30.
The doctor-patient relationship is...
He's got to be pleased. 2 picks already tonight. So Winky on the season, 15 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions.
And Ron, he holds the ACC records passes without an interception. That's 231. Right. He threw it, broke it in the Louisiana Tech game, and threw an interception in that ball game.
Mason in motion. Jones squeezes through a hole and bounces inside the 45-yard line. Boy, he is quick. And another number 6, Derek Gibson, is over to make the stop on him, the junior out of Miami.
Yeah, and the safety, Jerton Evans, sits back here. Now, Peter Warrick is being doubled. Number 9 is going to run up inside of him. And then Evans, the safety, is reading Wanky all the way and picks that football off.
Not only a good reaction, good closing time by him as well. If you look at Warrick on the bench. Jones inside the 40, down to the 38, 1st and 10 Virginia, and let's check in with the big guy. Adrian, what do you got for us?
Ron, some of the statistics that those pro scouts you were describing really love about Thomas. You may not see in the book. Yeah, number 2 rusher in the nation as of this week, but check this out. Has never been late for a practice, never been late for a team meeting, and has graduated in 3 years with a degree in psychology. Ron, it seems like he's always been ahead of schedule.
He's a fun young man to visit with, Adrian. We talked to him on Thursday after practice. A lot to be proud of as far as the alumni of this young man, Thomas Jones. Bobby Rhodes stops him this time.
And his brother plays at Notre Dame, had over 100 yards today in Notre Dame's win against Navy.
I asked him if he had a message, and he said the irony is we live much closer to Tennessee than we do to Virginia. He said everybody in our hometown really thought we should have gone, both of us, to be volunteers, and the irony is my little brother gets to play against him, and I never got to my entire career. Ellis rolls the pocket, and that ball is tipped and then is caught by Virginia. Jones got it. That thing looks like a pinball machine. Edwards tipped it first. And that is the end of the first quarter as we sort this one out, but it's going to be a gain by Virginia. Look at it one more time as we head to break. Brian Allen with the sack. Into the first quarter, no score. We'll be right back.
To number 1.
Sugar Bowl. And nothing's going to stop us. Look out!
Now what?
There's an easier way to the national championship. Nokia's Road to #1 sweepstakes. Just buy any Nokia model phone in a specially marked box and you can win trips to the Nokia Sugar Bowl or thousands of other great prizes.
I'm not giving up shotgun.
Nokia. Connecting people.
You manipulated me into this.
I fought for you and I still fight.
The Insider is the best film of the year.
He's only the key witness in the biggest public health reform issue in U.S. history.
It will pin you to your seat. One of the most breathlessly entertaining pictures of the year. Al Pacino, Russell Crowe.
It's valid and true and proven. At the point whether you call it truth or not.
The Insider, a Michael Mann film, rated R. Starts Friday, November 5th.
Reach across time and see yourself. You stand tall against terrifying enemies. You build masterpieces and break down barriers. You rush into the future and meet your past. For every time, at every moment, the official network of every millennium. The History Channel, where the past comes alive.
We don't build commuter cars or get you to work fast pinstriped cars. We don't build cars, period. We build the 205 horsepower, get out of town fast Isuzu Rodeo. Because there's more to life than the daily commute.
We are back. No score at the end of the first quarter. Some of Mike Gottfried's tickets here tonight.
Future lawyers.
Situation, third down. They need the 28.5-yard line to keep this drive going. Big John St. Clair over the football. Ellis incomplete as he threw into a wad of people, and a flag is down now.
It's almost holding there, Ron, where that's being called at by the referee. The route was bad because both the running back and the wide receiver almost collided on that route. Coffey and Hawkins.
Well, Simon and also Brian Allen were really coming after the quarterback.
You know, with Virginia Tech playing Pittsburgh tonight, you know the Virginia Tech people are pulling for Virginia. I think the holding occurred on the right side.
Holding on the offense. That penalty is declined. Fourth down.
So it is a fourth down, and as I told you before, they need to go to the 28.5-yard line, and they will not go for the distance field goal. This will be the third punt of the night by Scott.
And I think this is a good call, Ron, because they've been able to keep Florida State's offense under control. Now, that's a punt safe all the way. They don't even send anybody back. They're figuring a trick play here.
What Mike means is they don't have anybody back, and their regular defensive people are on the field. This is off the side of his foot, and it may turn out very good. It does, at the 1-foot line.
I don't like it when you don't bring anybody back, because that can happen right there. No one has a chance to fair catch the football.
Well, coming up tomorrow, Week 8 of ESPN Sunday Night Football at 8:15 Eastern. Warren Sapp leads the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into Detroit to take on the Lions. Then on ABC's Monday Night Football, Mike Holmgren returns to Lambeau as his Seahawks battle Brett Favre and the Packers. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for prime-time NFL football. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten coming to you from a sold-out Charlottesville, Virginia. From the 1-yard line, Minor almost lost that football, did a great job of holding on, which shows his strength. And Brian Kenny, let's check with you.
Ron, this is the longest continuous rivalry in college football history. Kansas and Nebraska. Nebraska punting, but block punt. Jordan with the block punt for Kansas. 2-0 Kansas. Only 2 points, but the first points in 1996. Shut out the last 2 years.
Okay, Brian, 4 years ago, Mike and I were up there doing that football game, and it snowed like the dickens. I believe was it a Thursday night game or a Saturday night game? I guess it was Saturday.
Seemed like it was Thursday and ended it Saturday.
This is Dan Kyndra, the big fullback out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, who is shaken up on the play. Training staff out attending to him.
There's been a great comeback story. He got hurt, came to Florida State as a quarterback, sustained some injuries to his knees.
Always a young man that Coach Bowden said when he was playing quarterback. You remember he looked bigger than most of their linebackers. And Coach Bowden said that the young man was so conscious of everything he put in his body. He was so careful about what he ate. I think his body fat content was like around 2%, and that was it.
And always been a good team man.
Yeah.
When he's been hurt, he's been really a great guy for his teammates to bounce things off of.
Well, we're going to take a break as they continue to check over Dan Kyndra. We will be back with more in our score: Virginia 0 and Florida State 0.
Which sports center do you watch? Mornings, evenings, late nights? Only on ESPN.
Bill gave this to me as a birthday present.
Fire's my life. I fought them. I investigated them.
Hey guys, this is the drill. Come on down.
I'm sick and tired of getting toy fire trucks for Christmas.
I'm Bill Fries. I'm a fire safety specialist with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Every 78 seconds, a home catches fire. So the more we research, the safer we can help you make your home. The more lives we save.
At Liberty Mutual, we have hundreds of experts helping you live a safer, more secure life. It's insurance in action.
Did I mention my sprinkler head collection?
The inspiration for the new LeSabre didn't just come from a research center or design facility. It also came from your family. Introducing the all-new 2000 LeSabre, re-engineered with more safety features than any other car in its class. The new 2000 LeSabre by Buick.
Looking for a wireless phone is enough to make your head spin. Analog, PCS, calling areas, night minutes, weekend minutes. Then I went to Circuit City. They helped me find a great phone and the perfect rate plan.
Right now, you'll get a $40 Circuit City gift card free with any wireless phone purchase. And you'll get a free 900 megahertz cordless phone when you buy select Nokia phones, a $30 value. Let Circuit City clear the air on wireless phones today.
ESPN's presentation of primetime college football is brought to you by the all-new 2000 LeSabre by Buick, re-engineered to be safer than ever. And by Circuit City, answers at every department, low prices all over the store. Well, Florida State took this ball over at their 1-yard line. You look at Kyndra, we think he got kicked in the back. We will get a report, but he walked off the field on his own. Second down. Nice job defensively. Miner is going to have a couple. Shivers is down at the bottom of that stack, and also Maurice Anderson.
We stayed at the same hotel as Rick Lance and George Welsh and the Virginia players, and they talked about what we're seeing here. Play with fun, run to the football just like Clemson did, and you see the graphic over 20 yards, only 2 plays. Do not allow Florida State big plays.
Winky pressure from the outside, and it's intercepted. That is Stoops. The 3rd interception of the night. Tackle made by Almond. Well, as Mike said, Chris Winky has been a kid who set a conference record in completions without an interception. Tonight, he has thrown 3 picks already.
Bolden, the receiver, wasn't ready, Ron. Go back to the punt. George Welsh made a decision to punt the football, punted it out to 1-yard line. He gets it back right now. Bolden wasn't ready for the football, broke Stooks for the interception.
You know, I'm not sure that the quarterback was ready for the snap as well, as Jones takes it to the 10 and is knocked down hard after a gain of 2. Paulie makes the stop
but
on him.
You go back again, Ron. A lot of people would have thought maybe George Welsh should have gone for the football. Wanky talking to Bolden going over that play, but they forced the ball, punted the football inside the 1-yard line, and they get right back there when the 10-yard line was a turnover.
Address this. How many times people sit at home and say, oh, Winky, come on, horrible night, when the receiver is the one who crossed him up and makes him look bad.
Did not run the route the proper way.
Pressure off the corner, and he's going to be sacked. Ellis goes down hard. Jamal Reynolds, and it's the second time that the Seminoles have gotten to him tonight.
Ron, this is the same thing that happened last week. Not the same kind of a map tonight with the 3 interceptions, but last week against Clemson, if this defense didn't play, they were not going to get out of there with a win. Jamal Reynolds with a big sack. Beat Brad Barnes, the offensive tackle, and so Florida State's defense trying to stiffen here, forced a field goal attempt.
Dan Ellis pointing out blocking assignments, and they go with the running play. Here's Jones, has 5, has 10, he will score. Thomas Jones showing you exactly why he gets so much respect, not only in this league, but nationally and by the scouts.
Ron, he got a great block from Billy Baber, number 87, tight end.
Todd Braverman to try to make it a 7-0 Virginia lead. He's got it. So let's take a timeout. 12:04 left until halftime, and hang on, they're big underdogs, but as the Cavaliers of Virginia on top, 7-0 as Thomas Jones scores the touchdown.
With seating for 8.
Pick your boys up same time tomorrow?
Life is more exciting in Montana by Pontiac.
Hey guys, what you ordering?
Same as last week.
3 extra long chili cheese conies, add jalapenos, hold the chili with ketchup and onions.
Whoa, she's good.
I know what my customers like.
One-of-a-kind stuff like our extra long coney, topped with chili and lots of cheddar cheese. Get one now with Sonic's famous tater tots for a special low price.
Sonic America's driving.
Try our new apple pie shake. Tastes just like homemade apple pie.
AT&T, 7 cents a minute, all day, every day.
Take one of these. That'll be 25 cents.
But it says here it's a nickel.
Not for a couple of hours. What? Well, see, sometimes it's a nickel, but right now, it's a quarter.
It's like that long-distance nickel plan where they say it's a nickel.
Sometimes they charge you 25.
That's right.
That's where we got the idea.
Is that right?
7 cents a minute, all day, every day, even to Canada with our international plan.
You know, there are some stores that sell candy for one low price all day long.
And people like it?
Oh, they love it.
Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
Kentucky battles Mississippi State.
Kentucky is well armed with Dusty Bonner, but that Bulldog defense plans to apply heavy pressure.
Thursday at 8 on ESPN.
Thomas Jones on one knee on the sideline as this crowd has really gone crazy in the last couple of minutes, and rightfully so, as the #1 team in the nation trailing the Virginia Cavaliers by a score of 7-0. Winky, 3 interceptions, and we have played now 18 minutes of football.
Ron, they had the right call on because they caught Florida State in a blitz and hit the draw right up inside the blitz. Excellent job by the offensive line of Virginia.
Gardner and Bolden, the 2 deep men, as they look into the eyes of David Green, who prepares to kick it off. Everybody who's wearing blue and orange and white on their feet and making a lot of noise. This is returnable. 9-yard line. It's Gardner. Stumbles as he tries to get to the outside and now heading the wrong way. Flag is down. And a tackle made shy of the 20-yard line as Angelo Crowell makes the stop.
Yeah, Angelo, brother of Jermaine Crowell. Fine wide receiver here at Virginia a few years ago. Now in pro football.
Penalty against Florida State. As I mentioned to you, they only returned it to the 17, and now more damage to come. And let's go back and look at the touchdown.
Okay, Ron. First of all, they had the great call on because it's a blitz. Watch both linebackers. They're going to come. So you have a nice call on. Now they're in man coverage. Now Thomas Jones breaks in the secondary, gets an excellent block from Billy Baber. Now watch the tight end. Man coverage. Now he's going to block on Chris Hope, and Thomas Jones going to take it right behind it. That's why there's nobody in center field. Blitz, man coverage. Excellent call by Gary Tranquil.
Also, Big John Sinclair, he got an influence heading to his right, allowed his man to take that step and then cut him off. So the hole was there. Adrian, let's check with you quickly.
On Thursday morning, the offensive coaches caught some tendencies in the Florida State defense they saw from the Clemson game, Ron and Mike, in the red zone. I'll give you the details of why that play worked right after this snap, Ron.
Okay, Adrian. Hit at the line of scrimmage by Shannon Taylor, and he may have lost a couple of yards on the play. Okay, Adrian, back to you.
After that tape session, Ron, they installed six new plays on Thursday at practice, which is very late in the week to do so. You'll see other plays, including perhaps a direct snap to Thomas Jones or a snap to him where he can throw the ball off of that, all because they caught little foibles in the Florida State defense. The result this time, 6 points for Virginia.
Well, they're playing it very tough right now with a 2nd and 12. Cheney breaks it out over the 10. He'll take it to the 12-yard line, and now it'll be 3rd down and still long.
Well, if one of those little foibles, as Adrian was talking about, was that draw play, it was a perfect call. Whenever you add plays on Thursday as a coaching staff, you're always concerned because you're given a little bit more than you practice, and you don't want to do it. But if that draw was one of those plays, that really paid off for George Wells.
Florida State 0 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. Winky's pass, he's got it complete, and they'll move the chains as he'll be given forward progress to the 20-yard line. Dugans.
You can almost feel in this first half that they've done a nice job on Peter Warrick. We haven't called his name a lot, and so they're throwing away from him now. Peter Warrick's always going to draw double coverage from a linebacker, nickel back, cornerback.
He's caught 2 for a total of 7 yards.
You're not going to catch this one because he's on the sideline, so they don't have to worry about him here.
They got to worry about another guy that runs 14.
Can't figure out who to double now.
Travis going to take it across the 21-yard line. Tweet, who has one of the interceptions tonight, makes the tackle.
Would you say the whole state of Virginia is pulling for Virginia tonight? With Virginia Tech up there with a 7-0 lead, last score we saw.
Somebody said that first thing on Thursday. It's now 10-0. That that even the folks from Virginia Tech would be pulling for the Hokies tonight, or would be pulling for Virginia, I should say. Going to go on top. Got it at the 40-yard line, and that is Robert Morgan. 38 yards on the completion, and just like that, a hush in the house.
Well, that's what Rick Lance told his team last night defensively. He said, hey, let's run around, let's have fun, no big plays. Well, put that one down as a big play. Robert Morgan against Antoine Harrison makes that catch and changes his field position. Good concentration on that pass.
By the way, that is a career long for Robert Morgan, sophomore out of East Point, Georgia. Jeff Chaney will take it for short yardage. He will hammer his way for around 3 to the 37. If you just joined us, we're about to hit 9 minutes left until halftime, and it is Virginia 7 and the top-ranked Seminoles of Florida State nothing, but with their best drive of the night so far as distance.
They got Peter Warrick here, Ron. Don't have him doubled here. They're going to run the ball.
This is Miner. Gets a block from Mader. Spins around and going to fight his way for a couple of more yards. That'll be a first down and a nice second effort by Miner. And again, Chad Mader, who came in replacing Kyndra, with a nice block on the play.
And again, run the football. When you get in trouble, go to the eye. Jeff Chaney, the fullback. Travis Miner gets the football again. Opens up a lot of things in the passing game.
Shannon Taylor comes out as Rick Lance will send in another defensive back.
See what he's doing, Ron? He's giving a hard count to try to get the coverage to where he can see what he's throwing against.
Here comes the all-out blitz, and the pass is caught. Boy, that is a nice move, but they covered him up.
Ron, exactly what Chris Wanke did. He's starting to give a hard count to try to get this secondary to move a little bit earlier. And now they got Peter Warrick outside where you can't double him now. Now he's one-on-one against Antoine Harris, so a little adjustment by Mark Richt of moving Peter Warrick outside, not using him as the inside receiver.
Under 8 minutes left until halftime. 7-0 Virginia. The running play, that is Chaney. Push back, but forward progress almost to the 20 as Isabel puts the stop on him, and it'll be third down and less than a yard.
Florida State now offensively starting to get things going a little bit in the running game and the passing game. Got a good mix in their play calling.
Now that south end zone stands and tries to make all the noise they can, and a flag comes down quickly.
Substitution
violation.
Penalty.
Yep. Broke the huddle with 12 men, it looked like, Mike.
We have a dead ball foul, illegal substitution, breaking the huddle with 12 players. Offense. 5 yards, still third down.
Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, I have seen head coaches and coordinators talk to officials before the game and try and encourage them a little bit about some potential calls that might come up. But Rick Lance at the breakfast table this morning was talking to all these officials right next to the table that I was sitting at and said, you know what? I watched what these guys did last week against Clemson and how they substitute. Keep an eye open for it because I'll be on you on the field as opposed to sitting right next to you here at the breakfast table. So 2 meals after the fact, Ron, mission accomplished for Rick Lance.
Breakfast of champions. They had 3 calls against them last week substituting against Clemson.
Timeout is called by Winkie as the play clock was going down to 2 and then 1, so very wisely he avoids the penalty. 7-0 Virginia. We'll be right back.
Nip in the air, changing leaves can only mean one thing.
It's football season!
It's also home heating season at Locks Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Lennox dealer.
I have the dish, the big screen, the recliner.
He also has a reliable, high-efficiency Lennox heat pump.
Yep, this season this is the best seat in the house, baby.
And thanks to Locks Heating and Air Conditioning, it's also the warmest.
Lennox, one less thing to worry about.
Through the ages, man has followed his distant dreams and reached for the stars with varying degrees of success. Now, 2 radio visionaries have realized their dream, a morning show that's rude, crude, and sometimes offensive. It's the John Boy and Billy Big Show, weekday morning 6 to 10 on Gulf 104, Tallahassee's best rock.
Hey, is he calling us stupid?
Of course not. We wrote the script.
Oh, so we're calling us stupid.
Exactly.
The John Boy and Billy Big Show, weekday morning 6 to 10 on Gulf 104, Tallahassee's best rock.
They aren't just the nominees. They're the judges. The Players' Choice Awards, where the voting committee really knows what it takes to win. Friday at 8:30 on ESPN. Babe Ruth.
Johnny Unitas, Muhammad Ali, and Michael Jordan are among the greats in ESPN's Sports Century, the definitive book about sports in the 20th century. ESPN Sports Century, available at bookstores now.
Well, everybody's got their signs tonight, trick or treat, and that's what George Welch is trying to send a message to Bobby Bowden. Is it trick or is it treat? Right now, it has been a treat for Coach Welch. 7-0, but the top-ranked Seminoles are driving 9 plays, 66 yards. It is third down. They need to take it inside the 20. Winky's pass got it to Dugans, and that'll be enough for the first down. And in fact, when he spun around, he picked up about 4 more yards.
And Ron, here's again, nice adjustment by Mark Richt as the ball game goes along. Now he puts Warrick inside. He's going to drive off, which is going to open up the inside receiver, Ron Dugans. Now, as he drives off, they give him a little cushion, and Dugans comes up underneath and makes the catch for the first down. Nice little adjustment.
Eric Thomas with the snap. The give is to Minor, reverses it at the 10, still on his feet to the 5-yard line, and it is 1st and goal, Seminoles.
Well, how about that cut? Now, he cut on a dime up inside there. Travis Minor, again, games against top 20. We talked about it last week, 102 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns, 30 receptions. He comes up big in big games.
First down for the Seminoles, the ball on the 5-yard line. 9 carries, 51 yards for Minor. And he'll get it again. Picks up a couple of tough ones, and they'll put it at the 3-yard line. Isbell from that middle linebacking spot makes the tackle.
And Florida State's been good in this inside the red zone, inside the 20-yard line. The last 3 ball games especially. There it is, 9 for 11. 4 touchdowns. They'd like to have more touchdowns. They're putting points on the board, but forcing field goals, 5 of them.
Mader comes back in at fullback. Minor, the tailback. Winky sidearms it and throws it short. It is going to be 3rd and goal. Dugans is the man he was looking for, but when the pressure came, he delivered it sidearm into the ground.
And Ron, I think because of a lack of running game down here, a lack of a power running game, that's why they're forced into so many field goals. They may be sitting on one again.
Look at Dan Kyndra. He was injured on this drive, which started at the 1-yard line. 14th play of the drive. And they have covered 94 yards. For the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. It's Menace. And Mike Godfrey, that is the longest drive of the year. They had 97 yards against Miami. This is a 99-yard tote.
Well, Ron, they had a wonderful drive, good mix. Travis Minor, they motioned out. The underneath coverage went with him, and Marvin Minnis caught the touchdown pass.
Janikowski with the extra point. It's up, and it is good. And we are tied at 7 with 5:22 left until halftime. We'll take a break as Travis Minor is their go-to guy. And again, he shows why.
Grandma, I quit my job.
What?
Done.
What about that rent you promised, Mark?
Internet.
Yeah?
The idea is giant, and I can work out of the house.
This house?
Yeah, I need a few things.
Data ports, meeting rooms, 24-hour business services, and catering.
What does this look like, a Holiday Inn?
Find out why more business travelers choose us over anyone else. Today's Holiday Inn.
The World Wide Web. 40 million sites. 800 million pages. 60 billion words. And one search engine that prioritizes, categorizes, and organizes it into neat little folders. Northern Light, just what you've been searching for.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management. Be replaced on a whim. I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man.
Yes, woman. Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir.
When I grow up,
I want to be underappreciated.
be paid less for doing the same job.
I want to be forced into early retirement.
Check out the new Monster Talent Market, the first auction-style marketplace for freelancers.
Welcome back. Where you're tied. Florida State, #1 in the land, 7, and Virginia 7. Let's correct one thing that we said. We were given some misinformation. That was a 91-yard drive. The drive prior to that is the one that started on the 1-yard line. This one, following the kickoff and the penalty, began at the 9-yard line, following the half the distance to the goal penalty. So still, it may not be the best of the season, but 91 yards, any coach would take that at any time.
And now they get a chance to flip this field, Ron, because Sebastian Janikowski brought his right shoe tonight. He usually kicks it in out of the end zone so they can let their defense play.
The correct shoe. He's left-footed. I know what you meant, though. Here's the kick. I'll tell you, this is going to be returnable. He got under it. From the 3-yard line, Mason. Good heavens, what a hit at the 15. Brian Kenny, let's check back with you.
Ron, we get back to Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh cut it to 10-7, but then Michael Vick dropped back and is going to put one into the air. Andre Davis is back there. Beautiful grab. Nice toss, 37 yards. 17-7. Hokies up on top. Ron?
All righty, a lot of people interested in that score over in this part of the state as you look at Rick Lance. And Rick has to be extremely pleased with what his defense has done. They have 3 interceptions in the first half.
Now their offense is in the hole a little bit. They got to get the ball out of here.
Thomas Jones bounces it outside. Look at the move at the 20. Save 6.
That's a great way to turn the field around again. Clevon Thomas, #8, got caught inside and got faked out. He's replacing Tay Cody tonight, who's suspended for this football game.
71 yards from scrimmage for Thomas Jones.
Watch Clevon Thomas come up, #8. He just gets faked, or #9, he gets faked out. There's the move by Thomas Jones. And they flipped the field on Florida State's defense on one play.
Look at that Virginia bench jumping up and down. Thomas Jones, and there is a timeout on the field as George Welch is trying to catch him. He wants to be up close to see this one. So we'll take a timeout. 7-7, and Virginia driving again. And they are. The running play, and this is going to be knocked down for a loss as Roland Seymour comes back behind the line of scrimmage to make the tackle.
Florida State got hit on a draw play on the first touchdown.
It's interesting. That's the other thing I asked Thomas after practice the other day was, does Florida State talk to you very much? And he said, it depends on who has the leg up on whom.
Well, they're talking now.
Second down at about 12 and a half. They swing to pass out to him. That ball was tipped. Makes a one-handed grab, and now here he goes. He is tackled finally at the 12.5-yard line by Mario Edwards.
Ron, if they get that ball out there clean, but David Warren, number 99, tipped that ball. If they get that ball out there clean, Thomas Jones might get the corner turned. He's great hands. Again, concentration. Now, everything is going inside. Now, he gets the football clean. He's going to run a long way, but David Warren saved the day, tipped that ball, and got some help inside.
Third down at about 9. As you look at David, the junior out of Tyler, John Tyler in Texas. Ellis. Hit by Corey Simon. And it's going to be a 4th down situation. George Welch disappointed that they didn't get a shot into the end zone. They'll try for the field goal.
This is not a team you want to scramble against as a quarterback unless you're swift. Dan Ellis just made a wise decision there. Sets the field goal up for Todd Braverman,
Braverman 5 of 8 on the year. His longest is a career-long 50 yards against North Carolina. This is nowhere close to that.
Won a game early in the year.
26-yard attempt from the left hash mark. Good pass, and I'll tell you, he got it. And Mike, I think the Florida State player overran it. He was beyond the kick when it was made. Mario Edwards.
Close.
Let's check in again with Brian Kenny. Brian?
Ron, as we mentioned, Kansas hasn't beaten Nebraska in 30 years. They hadn't scored on them in 3 years, but with a 2-0 lead, Dylan Smith looking, gets David Hurst, 23 yards, 9-0. Kansas leads Nebraska, Ron.
Wow, is this basketball? Oh,
and Nebraska may be feeling the after effects of the Texas game.
A little hangover here. You're right. You look at Thomas Jones on the sidelines. What a night the young man has already had. Had that 71-yard run just a moment ago. And I believe he is at 104 right now on 13 attempts.
Well, George Welsh has had a lot of good things to say about his running back. He said he's the best.
We're checking the replay. We'll look at it in just a second. No. Mario might not have been quite as far as we thought, but he was close.
Now, Todd Braverman gets rid of this ball quick.
David Green to kick it off. Virginia back on top, 10-7, as you look into the eyes of Antoine Bolden. This is Bolden from the 5. He turned as if to lateral, going to hold on to it, and will be tomahawked down at the 21-yard line by Dwayne Fisher. Well, coming up tomorrow, the Major League Soccer playoffs continue.
They were going to throw a pass on that kickoff.
He was set to lateral that ball.
Former high school quarterback.
Swings this one out. Ball came loose, but he was out of bounds. Travis Minor.
Let's take a look at that last kickoff. Bolden was going to start to the right, and he was going to throw the ball back. He starts, and now he's going to throw the ball back to Gardner, number 21. Set up this return, but he just felt differently about it and tries to get as much as he can get.
Winky swings this one out to Minor, and good open field tackle by Antoine Harris, a senior out of Raleigh, North Carolina, denying Minor the first down.
Yeah, 2 timeouts left for Florida State. And again, Ron, you go back to last week, Peter Warrick was more of an offensive threat in that ball game against Clemson than he's been here tonight. Virginia has kept him under wraps.
Great protection, and that ball is dropped, but he did throw it behind him, but Travis probably should have gathered it in. And it is a punting situation for Florida State. Now remember this, the return man for Virginia, because of the injury to Harris, is Thomas Jones. Can he electrify this crowd one more time before we go to halftime? Would you kick to him, Mike?
Well, Florida State has so much speed, Ron, they're going to get good coverage. I think I'd just air it out if I'm Contra. They're coming after the block.
Yeah, they are. They've left the Gunners alone. And a kick is off the side of his foot. Jones signals for the fair catch, and he makes it at the 26-yard line. Brian Kenny, let's check with you quickly.
Yes, Ron, coming up on the Buick halftime report, we'll have Florida and Georgia in the rain. Chris Fowler and the game day guys are down there. Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Can the Hokies be impressive if they can win this evening? And also Nebraska's 30-year winning streak on the line and in jeopardy against Kansas. That's coming up at the half.
Okay, Brian. One of the things that everybody has to remember in looking at the BCS, because of schedule and strength of schedule, from here out, Virginia Tech stands to lose ground as far as strength of schedule. So if everybody above them maintains, they may have a tough time getting in.
Yeah, they just got to keep winning on the field and let all that take care of itself.
Ellis going to run it. He is collared at the 28 by Corey Simon. Corey picking up right where he left off last week. He is everybody's All-American, particularly the coaches. You got to love a kid like this who works so hard. Mike, he's about to get his degree, and he will have 3 minors. One of those is communications, and he thinks ultimately after pro football he'd like to give it a shot in the booth.
One of them's quarterback sacks too.
Almost knocked him down, and that pass is dropped, and probably just as well to McMullen couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, he's one of the finalists for the Lombardi Award, so the people around the country have a great deal of respect for number 53, Corey Simon. Here he is working one-on-one.
Actually, they double on him here.
Yep, they get to double late. Do a pretty good job keeping him away from Dan Ellis on that play.
Jared Woodson, who's getting that start at left guard and combining with John St. Clair on the double. 3rd down and 8, and they put it in the stomach of Thomas Jones, and he is going to have the first down. Well, you can see that umpire running for his leg, trying to get out of the way.
I can see what the NFL people are talking about as far as comparing him to Emmitt Smith, because he runs very low to the ground. He has great moves in the hole, works up the football field. He's a very good athlete.
Clock running, 32, now 31 seconds. Gets that one away, and it's McMullen, and he's going to be collared on a good open field tackle by number 1, Reggie Durden.
Virginia still has 2 timeouts to work with also, around with 21 seconds. They need to get down the field.
So with 21 seconds left, 10-7.
They're going to take one. Players back, then they're still alive in the BCS also.
I'll tell you what, a team I had to be really impressed with what they did today with a lot of injuries is Alabama's win over Southern Miss.
It's a big win.
Southern Mississippi is a very good football team. From the shotgun. Right over the middle, and he just dropped it. Hawkins saw the pressure coming over, and he
go back to again last week, Ron. Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator, Florida State, Mark Richt, went in at halftime and got their ball club assembled. They came out and played a much better second half and got control of that ball game. Mickey Andrews and this staff, they've been through this. They've been on the road. They've been in tough ball games. They'll make the needed adjustments at halftime. Virginia just has to keep putting pressure on Florida State.
There's Mark Richt up in the coach's booth. This pass by Ellis caught out of bounds. Coffey just across the 50-yard line.
Trying to set up Braverman for one more field goal shot before half.
Remember what I said. Braverman's longest, career long, is 50 yards against North Carolina. And if that's going to be the case, Mike, they're going to have to move this ball down to around at least the 33, the 32, 31-yard line. And this is going to have to be the play they'll do it on.
Yeah, they have to do it against Corey Simon and Seymour and Warren, and getting a pretty good pass rush on them right now.
Cavaliers lead it by 3, and they're looking for more. Ellis puts it on top. Defensive back Hawkins, or the offensive receiver Hawkins, had been held up by the defensive back. And Ellis is down.
Yeah, Tommy Polley just leveled Dan Ellis.
6 seconds showing on the clock. Let's take a look at that hit, Mike.
Tommy Pauly, number 29, is going to come from the outside. There's the hit. Meanwhile, downfield, here's the action. Get Mario Edwards, number 15, against Kevin Coffey. Looked like they collided.
Two receivers were very close, yeah.
Amon Hawkins and Coffey.
Could be the last play of the first half. Ellis takes another shot up on top, but it's got to be intercepted. Chris Hope cut over to pick the ball off, and with that, they head to the locker room. We are at halftime. George Welch and his guys always bring a special effort when Florida State comes to town, and tonight is no exception. It is halftime with our score, Florida State 7 and Virginia 10. Now with the Buick halftime report, here's Brian Kenny and Rodney Gilmore. Gentlemen.
Ron, thank you very much. We've seen this before, Rodney. Of course, against Miami, Florida State was tied up on Wake Forest by 6 at the half and then down by 11 to Clemson. So the last 4 games now for the #1 team in the country, they're -8. So we've seen this.
It happens a lot. I mean, really, Virginia's done a great job of taking Peter Warrick out of the ball game. They've disrupted the rhythm to the Florida State offense. I look for them in the second half to do some reverses and screens to get Peter Warrick involved to try to get their rhythm going.
Meantime, this is a day where the have-nots are rising up. Navy, Iowa State, and Kansas. Kansas with a chance to win this game. In progress now against Nebraska. Again, haven't won against the Cornhuskers since 1968. But then Haydenfield's punt blocked by Matt Jordan. 2-0 Kansas. Then later, Dylan Smith up in the air. Kansas driving, puts it to David Hurst. This 23-yard touchdown. At one point, Kansas had outgained Nebraska in yardage, 177 to 26. 9-0 right now. Jayhawks rising up. This is the longest continuous series in major college football. And again, it's a 30-year winning streak for Nebraska. Coming up, the Illini shock Michigan. Could they shock Rashard Casey and Penn State? How good are those Hokies? Michael Vick in Pittsburgh, and Florida and Georgia. The duel in the rain. We'll be back.
Today's the big day. My daughter finally got her driver's license. Am I worried? Nah. The kid's in...
Is the best team in the country. You can keep voting on ESPN.com. For Rod Gilmore, I'm Brian Kenny. Back out to Ron.